Hello YouTube! I wasn't actually going to film a review of the Heir, but I buddy read it with my friend Jen, and we had a lot to say, so we're gonna do this. So if you haven't read the Heir yet, it is the fourth book in the Selection series. I honestly don't know why it's the fourth book in the Selection series.
It should maybe be like tops the third.
No, it should be like the spin-off series. It should be the first book in the Heir series. So the Selection is a series of books about a girl named America who is entered into this selection where the prince Maxon is looking for a mate. So the premise of the Heir is that it's like 20 years in the future, and America and Maxon have had children, and now their oldest, whose name is Eadlyn. There's a lot of controversy on how to pronounce it, but we looked it up. And it's Eadlyn. She's gonna have her own selection! Yay! And so it's gonna be 35 boys instead of 35 girls, and it's sort of like groundbreaking history being made because
a girl is the ruler and not her brother and blah. First like paragraph of the book is just talking about like how she's gonna have to be queen now, and oh my god, how unfair is this?
So this is the Heir, right here. I'm gonna just read that first. You know what line I'm talking about.
Should.
Alas! Mom and Dad couldn't stand to watch their firstborn be stripped of a title by an unfortunate but rather lovely set of breasts.
I just can't even take that sentence seriously.
That is literally the third paragraph. Like, our first view of Eadlyn is that she sees herself as a set of breasts. So I'm gonna try to keep this beginning part spoiler free, and then we're gonna jump into the section where we spoil and rant about everything.
I have a really hard time like actually judging this book series because I didn't read it because I thought it was gonna be great literature. I read it because it was gonna be fluff and it was gonna be fun.
But the thing is, that's how I feel about the Selection. And while the last book, like the one has some things that I'm like, the book was still like relatively decent and fun.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the Heir had so many issues that like it was fun because it was existing in this world that I already like and with characters that I like.
Yeah. I was more hoping that it would be a deeper like delve into the outside story, you know. I was hoping that we'd get to see Eadlyn like dealing with the rebellion and stuff like that, and we got a sentence.
And especially because like the whole point of Maxon and America's reign is that they were fixing all of these bad things that had happened and gone on from his father's time as the king, and nope, we sure got a lot of hand massages. I very much need to get to the part where we spoil things, so I'm gonna just wrap this up by saying if you like the Selection and you are strong-willed, go ahead and read it. I definitely wouldn't say don't read it. If you like the Selection, you should at least read it.
I had fun reading it. Even if half of it I hated, I still really liked it.
Yeah, so stop watching now if you haven't read it yet. If you have read it, oh my god, let's get started. So I freaking hated Eadlyn.
I disliked America because she couldn't make up her damn mind.
I missed
and it was
her.
driving me crazy.
I missed America.
But, like, I didn't think I could hate anyone more than...
It's funny because, yeah, I thought that, like, America was as bad as it gets in this book series because she's whiny and can't make up her mind.
And kind of vapid.
And, like, all of her options are good, so just pick one. But, like, America, like, in hindsight, was fighting for equal women's rights and took all of these things that they had to do for the Selection like pretty seriously, and I believed that she was gonna be a good queen.
Yeah.
Eadlyn, I wanted to just like lock in a closet and leave her there. Like
the world would be a better place if you did that.
Genuinely, I can't tell if we were supposed to feel sorry for her or if we're supposed to get that inkling early on that she doesn't realize that she's maybe not the best person. God, every time she complained about Josie, I was like, Josie has literally done nothing wrong.
And I get it from like a, you know, it's like basically having an annoying little sister, but like she's not your sister, so you don't have that even like that attachment to her. But she wasn't that bad.
No, and even like, the phrasing that Eadlyn used, like, oh yeah, Josie and Kyle are the worst.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're a princess.
And I mean, Josie did like go into her bedroom and take a tiara or whatever,
but, like,
I feel like Josie has reason to not like Eadlyn and to go steal her shit.
Yeah, like, I bet Josie is a lovely young lady. And Kyle, too. Like, oh, he's so boring.
He reads books.
And the fact that, like, she instantly was like, wow, I never noticed that there was, like, an interesting guy in there with, like, actual interests and passions. It was just, like, instantly like, no, Kyle's great. I'm on Team Kyle. I knew instantly that Kyle was going to be in the Selection.
Oh, God, yeah. As soon as you met him, you were like, for some reason, they're going to fall in love.
Who do you think put his name in the Goblet of Fire? And
Dumbledore.
But like, who do you think put his application in? And do you think we'll find out? Because I was surprised that that didn't get brought up.
I wouldn't be that surprised if it was like Marley or America.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if America had been watching them grow up together and just been like, oh, I wish mine and Marley's kids could get married.
Planting the kiss was just like the stupid, like, why would you pick the guy that people are already annoyed, like, oh, someone from in the castle?
Yeah, they already think that he's already had a relationship with you and are never gonna buy that you guys hated each other.
No, I hated that. I hated that as a plot point.
It was stupid.
I hated that she was surprised that it didn't work. And also that, like, the news was like, oh, like, she's
kind of a slut.
Giving her kisses away easily. Like, duh. Let's go back to the selection and the boys and, like, the first meeting of the boys. I'm just gonna put it out there. Some of the things Eadlyn was thinking was, like, sociopath. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna pit the guys against each other. Like, oh, I'm just gonna make them fight.
And just how did she ever think that that was gonna make, like, the country happy?
There was that line that was like, you cut a guy because he was sweating. Maybe he was just nervous or an idiot. Like, everything out of her mouth was so offensive and judgmental and rude.
I also really don't think that Max and America would have raised a child like that, just because, like, that was their thing. That was what they changed about the country, is like getting rid of the caste system. And I feel like they would have worked really hard to like instill that in, especially the child that was going to rule the country. Mm-hmm. Like why that was an important decision.
I think it was interesting. Like I actually did appreciate the plot line that like you can't just remove the caste and expect everything to be good. Like there's still unrest, there's still people who need things, there's still, you know, people who don't have even like a place to live.
Yeah.
But I thought that it was interesting that, you know, they're like, let's just solve the problem with entertainment. Like we're the royal family, what can we do? And like that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
But I think that like part of the reason that Eadlyn was so crappy as a person is like she was raised as like the firstborn, the first queen, like no matter what, even when you get married he will just be the prince
consort thing.
Whatever. And so like I feel like she was just sort of like the reason that they sent Harry away to not grow up as the boy who lived, and because of that he's like humble and normal. Eadlyn was raised like
she was going to be this all-powerful figure.
Yeah. But like the only things we actually get detail about of her free time are like her bubble baths and her massages and her drawing of pretty dresses and speaking
and fighting with her maid.
That dress that she designed
sounded so ugly.
So ugly. But her maid.
Oh god, her maid.
America had a really strong relationship with her maids.
And I mean like Lucy's still around and everything. Like,
Oh, that's a whole other. We'll get to that. But I cannot believe how terrible Eadlyn was to Nina. When she said that she's not that desperate to date a guard, I just wanted to smack her. I just wanted to like smack her upside the head. Okay, yeah, you are going to be the queen of the world, of the kingdom that eliminated the caste systems, but you're still above guards. Your mother was a 5.
I just don't understand.
And like the fact that like Nina like was saying that she wanted to like go and follow her passions and do something else, and Eadlyn would just be like, haha, you're gonna be with me forever.
You're never gonna find a better job.
No.
Serving me is literally the best thing ever.
That is like what she said. Her siblings didn't suck. Like Caden
was like a great human
being.
The
best character in the book. Like Caden was doing all the things that Eadlyn had to do, but because he wanted to, and was like smart and kind and put her in her place a few times for being a 14-year-old boy. Like I feel like America and Maxon should just be like, listen, I know that we don't want that lovely set of breasts to not rule the country, but this kid over here would do a way better job. I remember thinking that the sort of like the challenges that they had to do in the selection, in the first selection, were really interesting.
Yeah, they actually made a lot of sense.
They had to like, you know, plan like a really important gala, and they had to come up with a program that they wanted to do like for the people. Like a lot of really cool things that were like, you know, okay, we're gonna go on these dates and these fun outings, but also we need to show
that we could actually help rule a country.
Yeah. Eadlyn, first of all, did nothing, but then when she finally did like a stupid little like quiz show. Why didn't Maxon say like, okay, we need to like sit down and come up with some stuff? The whole point of this selection is that it was a distraction and like a showcase and like let's make a spectacle of this thing, and like they didn't even plan anything.
No. They were just like, do it. You got this, kid. You could do it.
Nothing. Maybe Maxon and America are too busy dealing with the uprising, which is all we know about what's going on.
Oh god.
But like, first of all, it was just clear that she didn't care.
No.
At all. If the point was to make a spectacle, what are you doing?
God, and sometimes she goes on these little rants about how she just doesn't want to disappoint her father, and maybe she'll get married anyways just so that he's not disappointed and to actually provide a spectacle. But then like, when she actually has to provide one, she doesn't even think about it at all. She's just like, I don't know, we'll watch a movie.
Yeah. Okay, this whole thing with Kyle, where she's like, Kyle's the worst, I'm just gonna kiss him for photos. But then like, oh, like, I want to see your architecture drawings, and he's so interesting. But like, still a really crappy person the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And then like, is forging this great relationship with Eric, which, by the way, When is she gonna be like, Eric needs to be in the selection because I clearly like him? And then also has this like really sweet sort of genuine thing with Henry.
Yeah.
How does she have this nice thing where she's taken Henry under her wing when she's like so crappy about everything
Because
else?
she's so much better when people can't talk back to her.
But maybe it is because she's like, I don't even have to try, this isn't real, he can't even speak English.
Yeah.
She even said like, you know, it's harder to learn a language when you're an adult, so it's gonna take a long time for him to learn my language.
Yeah.
Like, no! This is a two-way street, Missy. You learn each other's languages.
And you have plenty of time.
The relationship that I'm actually the most intrigued by is her relationship with Eric. But there's absolutely no way. How could she possibly pursue it because of how sweet Henry is and how like...
Oh god, yeah, no, it would rip his heart out.
Yeah.
And it would also make Eric really sad, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because Henry would like leave and be super dejected and he actually cares about
so
him.
like that's a terrible plot point and I can't root for it even though I think it's the best relationship.
Yeah.
Why would they send an eligible, attractive male in the correct age range for the translator? They could have picked an old guy. They could have picked a woman. Actually, the plot that I want to happen is I wish that Eric was actually Erica and that she ended up choosing the female translator that she
actually
realized
did like girls.
that she did fall. Yes.
Because she was just like, never.
So, I mean, I appreciate in the end that Aaron's thing was very dramatic, but I did appreciate that he was like, listen, lady, here's the truth, peace. And I like that someone finally just told her, like, you're a horrible person, change. But I did not like his conclusion to his letter.
Oh my god. No, when he's just like, you just need to get married so that the country will like you.
I like when the focus is being married, being loved, doesn't make you weak. Like, you can still be powerful, but not, like, to be likable, you have to fall in love with a man.
His advice should have been just like, hey, maybe be a bit more personable, talk to some people, don't be such a jerk.
It's not like falling in love with one person is going to make her stop being
horrible
rude
to everyone else.
to everybody, but it might at least help. The funniest part of the book for me, and I don't think that this was necessarily intentional on Kiera Cass's part, but there was that little conversation that had nothing to do with anything where Elin finds out that Lucy can't have kids. America gets all like emotional and is like, sometimes it's really tough being a queen because sometimes like your body isn't your own, and like I would have loved to offer to be a surrogate mother for them, but you know, queenly duties, I can't do it. But like everybody knows that this is just America like 20 years later. Like she's the queen, she's been with Maxon, like
she has
Aspen
4 kids
and Lucy are like clearly happy and fine, and she is still upset that she can't fake have his baby. She wants to fake bang him and fake have his baby, and she can't do that, and she is still upset. That is what that means. I am sorry. That was like the one moment where I was just like, ugh.
Oh my god.
America. But honestly, for the rest of the time, like, I thought that she was great.
Oh my god, like when they were playing baseball and everybody was just like super happy, I was just like, okay, yep, this is them being parents and I love it.
It's just so annoying. There's all this stuff going on outside that is like becoming the plot, but it's just like, yeah, like people are like
they're mad about
I guess.
something, I don't know.
There's no way that all of this unrest is just because they don't like Evelyn.
Oh
like
god,
she
no.
was like very recently a teenager.
That was the other thing about her brother's letter. They're like, yeah, he's like, the only reason that they actually don't like us is because of you. Like, you're a bitch and
like,
they hate
no,
all
but
of us.
also you are very recently recovering from like an extremely oppressed society. Yes, it would also help if they had a beloved princess, but like that's not the only reason that people are upset.
I feel like probably until now, the only time they've really seen her is on the report. They seem to portray it that she's really good at being on TV.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how the country would hate her.
I feel like most of the things that made me hate her and want to throw
Were
rotten
personal.
fruit at her were like, yeah, little comments that she makes to her maid. Oh, well, I mean, my father was a one. Shut up!
Your father's entire thing is, like, dissolving the cast. And people need to see you support that.
Yeah.
Like, every time you have a discussion about that, it needs to be like, those don't matter anymore, hon.
I mean, but if they did matter, my dad was a one.
I'm more important.
Like, okay, Draco Malfoy, God. So I could talk about this all day.
And we have.
We have.
Good luck editing
this. This is a long video. You know, there's a lot of things in the selection that I didn't like and that bothered me, but I still had a good time reading it. This one was less like, it's hard when I just don't like the character. And when things don't actually make sense to me, like I have a harder time just accepting that.
Yeah.
And so I definitely was disappointed by this book, and I definitely wanted
more,
and I wanted it to be more like the first couple books. But I mean, I still am gonna read the second one. I'm probably gonna make another angry video. But that was the Heir.
It was great. You should read it.
I would definitely love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Yeah. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Are you going to read the next one? Thank you guys for watching. I'll put a link to Jen's Facebook and Twitter and stuff down below if you want to follow her online. And that's it. Goodbye.